Hey everyone, looks like we are live. Thank you so much for hanging out. We made it to yet another live stream. We made it to another Wednesday. I'm so glad everybody is here. Thank you so much. Let's see who we have here today. We have Kyle. Great to see you all the way from Pennsylvania. We have Patty. How are you, Patty, from Illinois? Dan from Indiana. Great to see you. Color Graphics from New Jersey, fellow Jersey guy. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out so far. I appreciate you. So today is, I believe, part 7 of this painting, which is Persephone in the subway with a cell phone. So that's pretty exciting. So we are doing okay. And so we're going to do some airbrushing, some paintbrush techniques. Mr. Air Todd, how's it going? Great to see you, sir. So glad you're here. Thank you so much for hanging out all the way from San Diego. That is fantastic. So I appreciate you very much. And let's see if I just move my screen over here. And what a great group already. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out, paint, talk about art, and all that great stuff. So I appreciate that so much. So today we are going to basically work on the iPhone. That's right, Kyle. That is so correct. That is an iPhone. He is very astute with that particular fact. So thank you so much. So let's see what we have today. Today we're going to start, creating atmosphere, right? So that's what I want to do. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to kind of darken this area here, create more atmosphere, maybe make this a little darker gray. So we'll do stuff like that, which will be pretty cool. So let's see. So I do have a bunch of these stencils here. Let's take a look and see if any of them are what we're looking for. Well, this is her hand, so I'm going to put her hand over here. We may need her hand for later, right, everybody? So let's see here. I'm looking for something with the background. So this right here, this is, no, that we don't need, but this we could use right here just to kind of darken this. That's the first thing we can do. And then maybe we can darken something else here. So let's start with this, and we'll bring in our little mat here. And Colad, how's it going? All the way from Atlanta. Great to see you, or the Atlanta area, I should say. So glad you're here. So this area right here, I want to, but first, I think it might be best to paint this area dark first to give it some depth, start creating more atmosphere. I think that's a good idea. What do you all think? Let's see. And we'll go right here. And what I want to do is just darken this area right there. And we'll see how it goes, right? And what do I have in this airbrush? Well, I have a dark blue here. I was working in a painting portrait commission earlier. But I do have this really nice rust color here. It's beautiful. And we are going to make sure we don't get our airbrush too dirty. Let's see. So that's maybe I can get another cup and use the color that I have. So I did have other cups. They're over here. Let's see. Okay, so I have this cup, and we're going to add some black to it to make it dark. Oh, so cool. So on Colette's location, I'm on the big screen. That's always a wonderful thing. Thank you for that. Thank you for that honor. Now let's put a little bit here. And we'll put a little tiny bit in there. And now I wanted a little bit more red, so I'm going to add some red to this, or maybe some red orange, right? Red orange might be what we want. Let's see what this does for us. Okay, I think this is pretty good and pretty close to what I'm looking for. It's a little more red than I want, but it's going to mix with the color that's there, so it's all good. And let me just clean this out a little bit. So we're going to be doing paintbrush, and we're also going to be doing airbrush techniques today. Alright, so now we'll move this out of the way. Let's make sure our airbrush is operational. Look at those beautiful lines. Isn't that great? It's a great thing when you get beautiful lines, right everybody? Okay, here goes. Colette says she has no idea, haven't owned a TV in 15 years, just plugged this in and logged on after hooking it up to my laptop. How cool is that? Let me put these magnets closer to the edge, like me. So I hit that over there, and now I'm going to hit this sign on this side. Let's get this shadow there. I think that's pretty good. At this stage of the game, you're just kind of, you know, building atmosphere, you know. A lot of the rendering has been done, but you see I'm just building some atmosphere, that's all. Okay, so let me look at this side. That side is nice, but yeah, I think that's just fine. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to kind of bring in this darker than this fluorescent light here. Same thing on this side. So it's going to be a little bit more gray, which is cool. So we'll move our beautiful young lady over here. And we'll come over here. Maybe we need another. Giovanni, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. I really, really appreciate the videos that you're doing, the great work you're doing on your YouTube channel, Spaghetti Miniatures. Just amazing. So thank you for adding to the community, and thank you for being part of my community. I appreciate that so much. Okay, so I'm going to use a different one, guys, which is right over here. And let's see. Now right here, I want to cut this part. So we're going to get my, bam, my razor blade, and let's make this happen. So good everyone is here. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate everyone so much, more than you know. So I want to, yes, it's gotta, before you cut, you really, well, I really have to concentrate that I'm cutting the right stuff, right? So we're just coming down. Okay, there's a little bit of a lip going down here. Steve, yes, I hope Steve Leahy makes it. He might be doing Ohio stuff. I'm not sure. Top secret art stuff. He's a busy guy with his 543s and his amazing paintings and all that. Just pulling this down. Okay. I do like working with the paper cutouts from my line drawing. I enjoy that. You can pretty much go on the fly. Although the Mylar cuttings are really great though, because they're so exact with the cameo. And then right here. There we go. A little bit messy on that side, but that's okay. Now let's do this side over here. Mr. Gary, all the way from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Great to see you, sir. How are you? Now we have this coming down here. So let's make that happen. What kind of paper did I use? This is just regular printer paper, Patty. Great question. Nothing fancy. And I just printed it out on the computer, you know. Bring this down. I'm going to give this like an off gray color. I'll mix it with the Gideon method. Mr. Bobby, how's it going? Great to see you, sir. How are you today? All the way from Cape Cod. Great to see you, sir. And let's pull this down here. Okay, we'll put this over by her hand. So where else can I look for that gray? Let's see. I think that's it. I don't need to go too crazy, but I just want to double check before I bring back the painting, and we'll do that now. Here she comes. Okay, now we'll put this right over here. And we'll put this here first. So this is the first part. We don't have to do, we can move it, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, we'll put this here. All right, and then this side we can come back to that. So now we have to mix that gray, right? So let's make that happen. Mr. Michael, how's it going all the way from Maryland? Great to see you. How many days until your retirement? So congratulations on that. It must be getting close. So that is so fantastic. Let's see. We are going to mix that color. So let me get out of my own way here. And all right. So it is like an off gray, but it's really hard. There is some color in it, but not much. Okay, it's just a nice light gray. So let's make this happen. It's a pretty light gray. So I have some of it here. Oh yes, Gary says that Steve will be here. He has faith in Steve, so that's good. There we go. Put a lot of that color in there. I didn't think I need all that, but there we are. So I'm just going to add a little bit of darker gray to it, just a tad. Just a little bit, little flavor. And remember, a dark gray is going to kick the butt of the lighter gray. And to keep with things being correct with the frequency and wavelengths, a couple of drops of orange. I won't get into it, but there's a reason for my madness. A method to my madness, I guess you should say. Oh wow, Michael says he has bad news today that you have to work until July. Wow, I don't think that's bad news. I mean, that's cool. So, extra money, right, my friend? So that's okay. Extra money is always good. So I have this dark blue in my Extreme Patriot 105. So I'm sorry that your vacation, your retirement isn't starting as soon as you hoped, but it may be for the best, my friend, right, sir? Okay, so I want to get rid of any of the residual blue in there. This is a good live stream to see how I change colors, because I do that quite on the fly. Remember last week I was having trouble with this airbrush? I put some of the Airbrush Restorer in there, and I actually just dumped the nozzle into the Airbrush Restorer, and there was something stuck that wasn't coming out without the Airbrush Restorer. For about 15 minutes I put the nozzle in there, and then this really long piece of dried something or other was in there. It was definitely paint. Okay, so here we are. Here goes nothing. Somebody messed up on the paperwork. Oh man. Well, we have to look at it as a blessing, right, sir? I know it's probably jarring that, you know, this happened to you. So I'm going to cover this with the Post-it note. Ooh, that's really dark. So some of that residual blue's in there. There we go. And then here we can cover, well, we'll just worry about one side at a time. That's all we'll do. Remember, put your magnet close to the edge, like me. And on your close to the edge, you'll get good definition. So today is 51 days straight of juicing. Vegetable juice, mostly celery, lime, bok choy, really cool stuff. Ginger, turmeric, every other day. And I'll tell you, it's really changed things for me. So now you can see how I hit that, and it looks pretty good. But I did miss this spot, huh? Well, what's going on there, Tim? Let's see. Well, that's because I didn't cut it out. Cut it out. Let's see. There we go. I was able to do that without much fanfare or issues. So basically what that does is bring out the light, right? The fluorescent light. And that's what that's all about. Right now we're just creating atmosphere, right? So right here we do have little dark passage here, but we'll work on that. Does juicing mess with normal bowel movements? Not to be gross. At first, yes. I would say if you haven't juiced before, it's going to clean you out. But after that, your body not only gets used to that, it also, you know, will crave it, because what you're doing is you're getting an influx of nutrition that in one, literally, where did my pencil put? Oh, there it is. Literally, in one juice, one vegetable juice, 20-ounce vegetable juice, you can have more nutrients than you would have in a week. And at first, your body's like, hey, what's this? But after a while, your body, Kyle, is going to really know what to do with all that extra nutrition. And it's really fantastic. I'm very happy. I've been doing it quite a while, but not this. So you have to do it. It's best to do it in the morning and before you eat anything. And don't eat anything afterwards, for about 20 or 30 minutes, and it goes right into your system, which is really fantastic. And it really is something for you to look into, but everyone always talk to your physician first before doing anything like that. But I highly recommend it. And in 50 days, I think I lost around 12 pounds to 15 pounds, not sure. But my goal is another 5, and I'm going to be very happy with the next 5. Mr. Dave the Bug Gregory, how are you, sir? Great to see you. So Dave, I was just talking on day 51, which is fantastic. And so, and Dave, thank you so much for your friendship and your support. I really appreciate you, sir. Thank you, thank you. That is wonderful. So, and thank you for being a member too. So now you can see I went ahead and did both of the gray, but we can also notice how the fluorescent light really sticks out now, which is really, really important. And Dave, thank you so much again for that super chat. And Dave and Giovanni, you guys are great. You know, I really appreciate yous. So now that we have those two things, I'm going to look and see. Oh man, Mr. Michael's got to go. Got to get up early, go to work, see if I can get fired. No fired, sir. You continue doing the great work that you do. But, you know, just want to say, you know, I'm so sorry that your retirement is postponed a little bit. And just lighten this up. And let's bring back my image. There we are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be right back, guys. I got to use the young man's room. And please talk amongst yourselves. I appreciate yous. And so right now, today, we are basically working on creating the atmosphere of the subway, which is cool. So I'll be back, guys. I promise. I'm back. That wasn't too bad. So thank you so much for your patience, guys. And Dave says, don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate that. So we have this gray, and I don't think I need it anywhere else. but maybe we can start some paintbrush techniques. That wouldn't be too bad. So I'm gonna take out my wet palette and we'll get this show on the road. And I do have my ultimate set of brushes here, which is great. And we'll get my glasses as soon as I can locate them. Here they are. And we're ready to go, guys. So there's some areas like right here I definitely can use my paintbrush to kind of fill in the blanks. And there you go. So it does work out, you know, and so we just have to stick with it. Let me see if I can get a different. There we go. There's the wet palette. Let's see if I can just bring this gray color up. Oh yeah, I can't wait until Mr. Dave, you know, when things open up for him and to do his live streams. I'm going to be looking forward to that. That's for sure. Zoom in a little bit so we're not looking at my leg. There we go. On this side. Connecticut, back to Texas tomorrow, then heading back to PA on the 31st. Very cool. Dave is definitely a very busy person, and I appreciate Dave taking the time, as everyone out there, taking the time to hang out with me on this Wednesday when there's so many other things that you could be doing. But thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it so much. Very cool. Okay, so maybe I could clean up some areas with this. Let's see. Some of these edges are a little weird, so I'm just going to see if this will help. Thank you, Mr. Dave. Thank you, sir. Kind of soften up this area a little bit. Go back to our painting. Maybe I can get a little bit of a bigger brush. let's kind of work on this area. Be a little more painterly, for crying out loud, right guys? We're painters. So let's be painterly. Oh, Dave says if he goes silent, he fell asleep. Oh, no problem, my friend. You get the Z's when you can. Mr. Gary, thank you so much, my friend, for the super chat. I appreciate that so much. Thanks for hanging out. And thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate that, Mr. Gary. Thank you, thank you. So and then I can go back over it again, right? So I can come back in and kind of have some what's the word I'm saying? Variety, right? That's what we need. Variety's the spice of life, they say. We're going to put some of this gray here. So right now it's all about, being more painterly, not being so rigid, and kind of moving around. I got I have the wet palette out, as you all could see. So now it's let's just have fun. And thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you so much, Giovanni. Thank you so much, Dave, for the super chats. You all are super amazing. I appreciate that. Let's see, where else can we do some damage? Let's look. I'm just looking at our image here. I think we can come over here and kind of bring some painterly information here. Like I said, it's a painting. You want it to be free-flowing. You don't want it to be so stiff. So now I'm just going to come back and forth. Extra feed tomorrow if you get supers. I will tell you this. If I get 2 more, I will do a extra live feed on Friday. So that would be in the afternoon. So 2 more, that would be great. So that's for you, Gary, if I get there. And and I appreciate that so much, sir. So it's interesting. Looks like it wants to take another layer, right? It just needs to dry, and then that second layer is going to cover. So like I mentioned before, I'm just kind of being a little more fluid with the painting. And that's the whole great thing about a painting, it's alive, right? And, there's no right or wrong, it's just have fun. Yeah, there is right or wrong, when you're doing it as a career, of course. I'm not saying that, but take chances. That's what I really mean to say. Okay, so interesting. We have some negative space in the hair here. So I'm going to bring this gray here and get rid of that kind of really dull, kind of sepia looking color that we have here. Why not, right, peeps? Like Frankenstein, it's alive. Yes, Kyle, that's exactly it. You know, she's my creation. And you all witnessed her from the very beginning. And so now it's, it's just, using the Create text, this gray that I have. It's a combination of Wicked and the illustration. And of course it's going to look a little bit, how do you say, kind of choppy. But that's because the first layer is always a little choppy. And what's great now is now I could kind of assimilate him into the background a little bit. Not be so linear. Exactly, Gary. If you're not learning, okay, I'm sorry. You're not learning if you're not experimenting. So true, Gary. They say, if you're in the water and your feet are solid on the ground, you're not experiencing growth. Exactly. And I think that's so true, sir. So thank you for that. So definitely some experimenting going on with her, moving around. Going a little bit thicker with the paint, right? But I'm really enjoying it, I have to say. You can always do more, right? You can always change it up. So I like that gray. I'm going to lighten up the gray a little bit. Lighten it up, Tim, right? Let's see. So remember, the lighter color kicks the butt of the darker color, right? So I want to introduce some light colors in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my Wicked White. And I'm going to come in with that same gray, but notice that the gray is the more powerful color. So I'm not going to try and change the gray with the weaker color. I'm going to try and change the white with the stronger color. Watch what happens, how it kicks the butt of it. Plus, I don't want to just do gray. I want to go ahead and add some of my Photonic Realism in here. And like I said, I won't go too deep into it. The book's coming out hopefully within 2 months. Hopefully within a month. See, adding a little bit of that color in there, right? A little bit of energy. Energy has some of the visible spectrum in there, right? So that's why that's happening. All right, so now I have a lighter color, and we have our big brush. Let's get ready to rumble, everybody. Okay, so now we can see we have this lighter color. And we can start putting that in there. You know, I have all this experience, and for me not to use it is almost a sin. So tonight I'm using all my experience. I was a professional artist for decades before I even picked up a paintbrush. I mean an airbrush. So right here we're just going to lighten things up. Just move this over here. There we go. So now I feel like we're getting more of a sense of an interior. And, you know, it's not going to happen overnight, but I'm not being so precious with everything. And that's important. Okay, and then right here, it's a little bit lighter. Bring that down. Okay, so I kind of like that. And we'll continue with this lighter gray and see, like right here, there could be this big infusion of light right here and going right up against her arm, which I think is great. And maybe I can come in with some airbrush. My precious golden voice. There we go. Bring this over. There we go. So I really now things are starting to come forward. I'm liking it. Just a quick look at my wet palette. Let me see. Whoa. Here we are. See, you can't hardly see it because everything's gray on a gray wet palette. But let it dry and then do another layer. That's always the best way to handle it. So it's drying darker. That's okay. Right over here, probably hit this lighter color. Now we want this straight line here, and I think I don't have it. So let's see if I can bring this straight line here. See if this makes a difference. A little bit messier than anything. But we'll keep at it, right? That's the thing. We'll keep at it, everybody. And so the one thing is, it's a little messy, right? But the messiness is good because it's creating, it's starting to look like she's at a place and not cut out, right? And that's what we don't want. We don't want her cut out. We want her to feel like she's at this location. The atmosphere, the lights, everything is going around her. That's what we're looking for. Let's see, so we're just going to come right over here. Aluminum's not paper, so it's going to act a little bit different. It's not going to absorb, even with the 6000 on there. It's not going to absorb correctly. So you're going to have to do several layers. And over here, we have this lighter area here. And I'm going to come in, you know, with the paintbrush and work on some individual hair, you know, some flyaway hairs from her. Now, the trick is to let this dry, right? I don't want to force it, because then what happens, wet on aluminum, will go back to the original surface. That's not good for anybody. Okay. So I do like this lighter color, but again, I just have to be careful. See this dark color right here? I don't like it, so I'm going to lighten this up. It's at this point, if it's a distraction, it's got to go. Let's see. Make sure there's no paint on my hand here. And also, you know, with the gray, it seems like she's in much more of a not too loud of a place, you know, like a subway. Everything is pretty much monochromatic as far as all the metal is concerned, and I do like that. Let's see right here if we could lighten this up. And then down here. And you're going to see it going to dry differently. And I can assimilate him more into the background. And he's actually too chromatic, so I'll lighten that up a little bit. This is nice and dry, and I'm just going to add some here. Kyle says, how do you know when a piece is done? How do you feel? I feel like you could add very minor details till you go mad. It's interesting. So one of my favorite movies about an artist is the movie with Ed Harris as Jackson Pollock. And so Pollock struggled as an artist, you know, he was very poor and everything, and then, you know, everything went really great and he was getting all this attention. So there was one scene, I think Life magazine asked him, the reporter, they say, how do you know when a painting's done? And he said, how do you know when you're done making love? You just know it's over. And I thought that was like the best way to explain it, you know? It's like, it's just something that you just know, right? You know it's over. You did it. It's done. And you go on to the next. And it's just very, it's just, you know, you just feel it. And now, is it done like it cannot, more can't be added? You can always do more to a painting, but there comes a point where you just said everything you needed to say, and it's over. And it's a great feeling, but it's a sad feeling too, you know? And we just kind of just move around. Right here we can. Now it's interesting because I'm doing this with a big brush, relatively speaking. But I feel that, oh, Gary says, just like making love, some artists are finished a lot quicker than others. That is very funny and true, Gary. That's funny. Okay, so now I'm feeling pretty good about that. Now what I'm going to do is, let's see if I can kind of add some of this lighter gray color to this guy here. I'm going to do it in a dry brush technique, which is interesting. And let's see, just put some light on his shoulder here. Create some dimension on this dude back here. And we'll do it with a big brush. Almost how I would handle it in oils. I thought his arm was a little bit big there, so kind of gave me an opportunity to fix something that bothered me, right? And let's see if I can make this. I know there's more to this. Let me see here. If I go here, there's definitely more to this. This program sometimes gives a little bit of a headache here, but nothing we can't struggle with. Maybe I can move the camera down a little bit. Let's see. There we go. There. So now we can see the guy back there. And let's make a little bit better. Now I can actually go ahead and kind of smooth things out, but I'm really happy that I kind of am working out the atmosphere, so to speak. Gary says, funny thing, as humans, our vision doesn't show the bokeh background, but in a lot of photos, they have the bokeh background. Yes, and what's interesting about bokeh is, or bokeh, depending, you know, so many different ways to say it. We do have that with our eyes, but we don't notice it because we're just focusing on that, right? And we're not seeing it. The camera kind of gives us like the closest thing to what we see when we look at it, Gary. So that's a great observation, definitely, sir. All right, so let's go with this dark color we had here. And let's see what happens when we start adding this to some areas here. There we go. So just maybe create a little bit of a depth or something. Patty says, time for shut-eye. It looks great, Tim. Thank you for doing the live stream. Have a great rest of the week. Patty, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you have a great day tomorrow. Don't work too hard, okay? Just going to create a little bit of depth here. There we go. Just darker on the bottom there. And then we want to make sure that we don't go into her jacket. And now I'm just kind of cleaning it up, kind like, again, creating that atmosphere, right? And that's important. Now I do have one, that little stencil that covers her entirely. I just have to locate my folder, which was right here. Okay, here it is. See what we have. Every painting is different. You have different goals, and the goals don't always reveal themselves right away. Sometimes they reveal themselves later in the painting. And so I want to cover her, and I know I have that somewhere. Okay, this will work. So one of the reasons why this painting has more of a glow has to do with the preparation from beginning to end with this particular piece. I'm going to work on each side here. Like I said, now it's like, now I'm painting like just as if I was doing an oil painting. Okay. And I can come in here without worrying about messing up things, you know. Got this seemingly darker gray, but it really isn't. You can kind of clean things up a little bit, right? Why not? Then let's work on this side, making sure we get each side correct. I just don't want to get too much overspray on her. That's all. Okay. So this is the tightening up part of a painting. You know, loosening and then tightening, right? So I had to loosen it up a little bit, Gary, to paint what I want, right? So, and also what I want to do is I don't want him to stick out like he's cut out. So I'm kind of loosening him up to where he is just kind of like part of the background. She's the main character, right? So kind of softening things up to come back and really sharpening and tightening it up. It's kind of a different feel. I haven't really done this before, but I am liking it because it's giving her atmosphere, and that's what I'm trying to do, is to really keep working back and forth until I get a feeling that she's in this atmosphere, that this dude back there, he's doing his own thing, and, you know, working back and forth with the paintbrush and the airbrush until, you know, I'm happy. I may come in next week and really tighten things up a little bit here. I think that this right here, this door is looking a little too separated. So I'm going to come back in with the paintbrush again. And let's see what we can do here. Just kind of assimilate this. You know, we don't have to see every little crevice and line, right? So that's what I'm doing now. Just kind of blurring things up. And I think I can go with the darker gray now. Let's see. Yeah, and everything is like really super wet, you know? And, you know, a lot less mechanical and more atmospheric. And I can always come in and tighten detail up later, right, Gary? There are no rules here. It's kind of an interesting energy today with this painting, but I feel that it's necessary. Hey, Mr. JC, how's it going? Great to see you. All the way from the Atlanta area. How are you, sir? Now, I can, you know, add detail if I want here and there. That's totally doable at this point. And I'm not worried about individual hairs. I can always come back in with that, right? That's fine. Ah, thank you, JC. I appreciate that so much. It'll be fun to come back in with the hair, you know, little flyaway hairs with her. But what's interesting is that as I get looser with the background, she really starts to pop. Don't you all think that? That she's really coming together, that I'm not so precious with the background as Golem says, right, Mr. Kyle? At some point you have to call it done and just walk away. Yes, it's so true. And you know, when that point is, you'll just kind of feel it. And that's, you know, where I am right now. I don't feel I'm close. I can tell when I'm close, right? If I'm feeling like, okay, this is getting there. Like one thing is I like the fact of the cool colors here, right? You know, the cool grays. That really makes her kind of glow, right? Everything was way too warm. And that is what I think I'm doing now, is just, you know, everything's cold. He's cold except for his flesh, but everything and these little things. So, you know, you can see how compositionally things are going to get set up. So right here, I have this almost sepia color, but I don't like it because it's too warm. I mean, I like the fact that it's leading lines coming down into her hair and actually going almost to both eyes, right? Which is, yes, Kyle, that's true. And Gary says, do you ever go back to a painting and add when you thought it was done? Once I sign it, that's a great question, Gary. Once I sign it, it's it. It's like a document of my life, right? And it's over. And, you know, like I always say, you know, when I finish a painting, it's like a bittersweet kind of thing, you know. It's really a happy moment because it's another one in the books, but it's a sad moment because for sometimes for months I've been looking at this painting, going back and feeling good about it, and, you know, struggling with it, then feeling good about it again, and then that's over, right? But then, let's say 3 or 4 months from now, I go back because I learned more. Then I'm changing the document of that period of time in my life because I'm adding stuff that I'm doing in the present. So it's a great question. I really think it's important to let it kind of be once you sign it. And then the next painting could be that next chapter, right? What I learned from this painting could be the next chapter of the next painting, right? And then the painting kind of becomes like a very interesting document because you're seeing your growth. And that's the thing, you know, there was this one guy in art school. He was finishing paintings, and then all of a sudden he never finished a painting. He kept like reworking it until it was destroyed. And I seen a whole year this dude was just fixing a painting rather than just say, okay, this is it for now. I'm going to leave it like this. And it was real interesting and kind of a caveat for me. I don't want to ever do that. So I think that's also another reason why I don't go back. See, as I'm cooling up this, because that warm kind of sepia color doesn't belong anymore. Because she's the warmth, right? It's all about her and her warmth. Now remember, it's on aluminum, so I gotta be careful. So your next dream girl becomes a better version of the last one. Yes, art imitates life, doesn't it? Definitely. Definitely, Gary. go. Now, there's no reason when you're in a late stage of the game with a painting that you can't just move it around to get an angle so you don't hurt your wrist, right? So always remember that. There are no rules here. His tires got stuck in the mud and snow. There we go. So I like the different angle. Doesn't that really, I mean, I really love that different angle that we're looking at right now. It's pretty cool. I got to make sure I get my freehand shield away from that paint because I'll be putting it on my painting. Now she's a vampire. She could be, that's for sure. But she's Persephone, so she's even more powerful than a vampire. There we go. So I'm loving that. Got that dark angle going. Leading lines. And then that also makes me want to darken other areas. And then we can come back over here. So now the background becomes much more alive. It's a wave field, right? So it's not just static. There we go, and that's going to dry lighter, but now I could look around and say, all right, now I have that beautiful dark. I don't want that to be the only beautiful dark. So now I can come in and kind of hit some of the dark in him a little bit, in the dude. Ah, Gary, have a great night. Thank you for the super chat, sir. I really appreciate you. And I hope you have a great Thursday and rest of the week. Take care. And always a pleasure, sir. So now I think I'm going to come in with the smaller paintbrush. But before we do that, let's do some paintbrush action here. Really darken up this area. Maybe just a little bit here. There we go. So now we really feel the strap. And let's see if we can. Liz, how you doing? Great to see you, Liz. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you. How are you today? All the way from Staten Island. So one more and we have a Friday live stream. We have 4 super chats today, which is cool. Ah, cool. Great, Liz. Always great to hear that you're doing well. So you see how we really cooled things down. I think that's an important consideration. I'm also going to cool down the reflection since everything else kind of cooled down. The reflections in windows. Like right here. And yes, so there's a lot of work to do. But I feel we're getting a good atmospheric feeling to this subway that Persephone is in, and she's on the phone. Okay, so now we're going to clean out this brush the best we can. Let me get a paper towel. And oh, JC says the garments are looking great. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that so much, Mr. JC. Thank you. So, you know, you're working with Wicked paint, and that stuff is really terrible for paintbrushes. So make sure, please, that it's nice and clean before you put it down. And now we got the smaller brush, and that it's clean, it's not killed. And so we're going to come in with this same dark color here. Keep moving around. I may end the live stream a little bit early today just because I'm kind of tired. It's been a long day working on a portrait commission, working on writing my book. And so it's been a little crazy of late, you know. So I may cut out a little bit early. But we'll see. Let's see here. Miss Liz with the second super chat. Thank you so much. So Liz, I appreciate it. That equals 5. So we will have a live stream, and I believe that's going to be on Friday after one of my classes. So that will be, I think, at 2 o'clock. And, oh, JC says rest up. There's always tomorrow. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. That's a little thick there. So, you know, but we can always fix it, right? You know, we can always fix things. Thank you so much, Liz, for the 2 super chats. I really appreciate it. That equals 5. So we will have a Friday live stream. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to continue working on her, and that's going to be a free live stream for everybody. Thanks to our, you know, very generous super chatters. I appreciate that so much. And so we can even go further with Persephone, which is going to be a lot of fun. definitely. So I like the fact that we can move her around now. Oh, and JC said he has to get some sleep as well. He'll leave you guys now. Great feed, Tim. Have a great night, everyone. JC, have a great night. Don't work too hard, my friend. Always a pleasure. Say hi to the fam for me. Definitely say hello to Sergio for me. He's a good guy. So I definitely cooled down everything. Everything was way too warm, right? So my goal was to kind of cool things down. I'm going to come in with a darker gray, and I want to create atmosphere here, so we're going to work on that a little bit. Same thing over here. Little dry brush action. Oh, very cool. So cool. Sergio's a good guy. He's probably getting big, right? And here I think I have this too rounded. So I'm just going to kind of square it up a little bit. It's so cool. We have 13 concurrent viewers, which is nice. Thank you everybody for hanging with me. I appreciate it. Now, I do want to work on the hair, but that's the fun part, working on her hair. So I'm going to chill out for that, you know. I do like to have a hard edge right here. So this is the part of the painting. Those who, you know, watch my live streams all the time know that this is where things start to sharpen up and things kind of come together. And it's fun. It's like the culmination. There we go. Bring this over. All right, so I'm liking that. And let's see where else I could come in. You know, it's like I'm not in any rush. I'm just kind of pushing things back and forth, you know, nothing crazy. And when you get to this part, you just want to kind of chill. You don't have to struggle. You see right here, that's a little thick. I'll decide what to do with that. But that's okay. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. we can come back in later and kind of fix it. But now we have this like really beautiful dark gray. Kind of, now here I could be very tempted to come in here, but that's a dark red, so I'm going to chill on that. This right here could live as a dark gray. That's fine. And you make those little decisions. Right here we can kind of echo that dark of the door here. And, ooh, right here we have a nice dark. Over here. There we go. Everything may look a little disjointed now, but that's okay. That's all part of it. You got to break things to fix it, especially in a painting. There we go. So let's see how that looks. Okay, that adds a little bit of perspective and interest there, so I like that. And let's see where else we can add little perspective. Everyone could use a little perspective, am I right? Now, I could probably use some sort of straight edge here, and I think that's a good idea. I could use like an envelope or something. Let's see. Let's see how this goes. Ow. Yeah, this painting is coming to a conclusion. It's sad. You know, it's coming to a conclusion rather quickly. Sometimes faster than I want it to. Okay, so I got my brush. Let's make this happen. There we go. Now I could come back in. I established it. And maybe I could move this around. At this point, whatever is better for your wrist. here. Got a little bit of something right there on her face. Not too happy about it, but I'm not going to worry about it right away. Just going to work on this first. Okay, so I think I'm starting to like that over there. So I'm going to clean this brush, and now I'm going to see if I could ever so lightly get rid of whatever's on her face. Hopefully. What I can do is just make a hair there, if that worst comes to worst. I'll zoom in and show you. See that little bit of something right there? I'm kind of doing little dagger strokes. Kind of a blessing in disguise, because it's forcing me to really change that energy a little bit in a subtle way. I may have to come in with a light orange color right over here, kind of assimilate it, I think. Just kind of assimilate it so it doesn't stick out, right? And then I'm going to come in. But you see how I was able to kind of get rid of that. Didn't want to put a hair that wasn't there, you know, just like arbitrarily. My hands are getting all nasty from the paint. So now that I'm getting real comfortable with the eraser, since I'm here, let's see if we can work on her hands a little bit. Come down here. Now there are some things I can do before I come in with the airbrush. And, you know, there are things that I can do, right? So, you know, although it does feel like sometimes, you know, I'm close to finishing it, when I'm working on this, I realize that I have a ways to go before I can sign it and say, that's it, you know, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with her. So I'm setting this area up to come in with a reddish color over here. And it's going to kind of fade into here. So it's a little harsh right now, but that's the setup, right? go. So setting it up. Okay, so now we have a nice little setup with that hand. We can work that out. Since I'm here and I'm in eraser mode, why don't we see what we can do with the her sleeve, right? Let's see. So let's zoom in on her sleeve, shall we, everybody? There we go. What I'm just going to do is kind of lighten this up. Again, setting up for the next stage, right? Very important. And also getting rid of some things that don't belong, you know? So you'll see me do a lot of that. And now there's the kind of the, you know, the weave, right? Unbelievable. We're getting into the home stretch of this painting, which I'm very happy. The home stretch of the live stream. The painting, I would say we are definitely getting towards the end. Maybe one, maybe two more live streams. So, actually 2 more live streams. So next week we'll still be working with her. But since thanks to Liz and thanks to Dave and Gary and Giovanni, that we're able to have a bonus live stream on Friday. So that could bring us to next Wednesday, actually finishing this, completing her. You know, I have other projects during the week I have to work on, and commissions and whatnot, so I may be able to kind of sneak something in here, sneak in some work over the weekend, but we'll see. That's when I have a lot of my students in the mentorship program, so weekends are very, very busy. And thank you for my students out there that keep me going, being my students in the mentorship program. Okay, let's zoom out. All right, so again, you know, I'm really liking her. She's on metal. She is going to be cropped, like right there. So this is basically how the painting will be presented when she's framed. And so I'm still going to be working back and forth, not sure how light or dark I'm going to go here and there, but be a little more painterly. I'm going to come back in with the paintbrush, but be a little more painterly with the background than I normally am. Let's see, like right here, I think this needs to be straighter. I think I like that better, but I have to calm it down. So when you're doing stuff like this, you have to be careful that you don't put too much pressure, then it would go further towards the white of, oh, thank you. Liz says she looks great. Thank you. I appreciate that, Liz. And so I didn't like the way that the sweater was looking. So I'm just kind of refining it a little bit. And I might come and dust over with this color again, this olive color. But we have more energy here. So I'm just going to make sure that I get the energy that is a little bit stronger right here. So we will have, and I'll be posting it on, it should be 2 o'clock on Friday, will be the bonus live stream. Thank you to the super chatters today. So even though I'm running out of gas, I am determined to go the full 11:30. So I am going to continue the race. Just going to put a little more energy right here. Right here it is more energy as well. And I'm paying attention to the reference, right? Making sure I'm staying true to what it is I'm painting. Keeping my head in the game, right? That's so important. Aw, thanks, Liz. And thank you for the 2 super chats. That's so cool. Really, really make it happen on Friday. Ugh, right there. Something's happening right there I have to fix. So there's a couple of things I have to fix. I may do that with paintbrush. Oh, Liz says she did it for selfish reasons. I want her she wants a bonus live stream. Thank you, Liz. I'm so glad. Thank you. Gonna get rid of some pencil eraser shavings. Get rid of that. So at this point, it's a lot of little things that are, you know, going to bring this together. Lots of little tiny things. Let's see. Come over here. And again, so now I can move things around. I don't have to be so static. Now, where was it that I want? Oh, right here. see. Gonna hit her pupil. Make sure my hand's not dirty. Now I'm going to zoom in and we're going to see if we can get that dark right next to where her fingers are. And thank you everyone for hanging out and sticking with me. I appreciate it. So at this late moment, we have 11 concurrent viewers. That is so great. 11 people have stuck with me. Thank you for that. So you all are witnessing my first painting ever with a cell phone in it, even though cell phones have been around a very long time. We'll zoom out. Now where else can we darken things up? Like maybe right here. So now we're just kind of finishing up strong here. Putting some nice dark accents here and there. Wow, 12 people at the end. Thank you, everybody. 12, that's nice. I think people like the ends of a painting, right? The end of a painting. The early parts of a painting are kind of hard to get through sometimes as a spectator. Yeah, so we're going to do some airbrush techniques on Friday, some more paintbrush techniques. I got to chill him out. I don't like, he's way too saturated, right? So we got to chill out the saturation. I don't want him competing with her. So he's a secondary character. He's a character, whoever he is. Move this over here like this. So I started doing airbrush paintings on metal panel about maybe 4 months ago. So I think this is like painting number 3 on metal. And it all has to do with the book I'm writing, right? Because it all has to do with energy. And as far as reflecting the light, nothing has more energy than aluminum or metal. Well, not nothing, but a lot more energy being reflected out than, let's say, canvas or wood panel, right? So there's a method to my madness. So the last half hour was rough because I'm running out of gas, but I think I did it thanks to you all. I did the full 11:30, 9:30 to 11:30. I started a few minutes late. But thank you guys and ladies. You guys are all amazing. 10 people at the end. Thank you so much. So this is where we are with her. So I appreciate yous. We are getting further and further along with this painting. I will see everyone on Friday. Air Todd, Liz, thank you so much. JC, Kyle, Dave, Liz for the super chats. And thank you so much, Gary, for the super chat. Thank you so much, Liz, of course, for the super chats. Dave for the super chats. And thank you so much, Giovanni, Colette, and Patty, and Dan, Air Todd, Kyle, of course, Mr. Roy, Color Graphics. You all are just super fantastic. Thank you so much. I will talk to you on Friday. Bye, guys.